Three, two, one. Hey everybody, this is Victor. I am here with David again, and we're going to be talking like the next leg of his journey, updating everyone, how David went from funding to his first 20K net profit flip. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Well,
Good.
I'm excited to talk to you because you made a lot of progress, and we just did one of these case study videos like a couple weeks ago, and like last one was funding. This one is how you actually have a deal and it closed, and I mean we'll talk about all of that. If you can you like quickly catch us up? Because I know in our last video we said you got like X amount of funding. Now you've gotten more. Can you kind of catch us up since we last spoke?
Sure. So, getting the funding was a bit of a process, and I was able to get around 42,000, and then probably maybe a week after we last spoke, I got an email saying, "All right, we wrapped up your funding. Turns out we got you a little bit more." There's like one that came in at the very last minute, so I was able to get up to 53,000. So it was an extra 10 grand or 11,000.
That's awesome. That's crazy. Yeah.
Nice surprise.
Yeah, nice surprise indeed. Yeah. I didn't even know it worked that way because I thought once you get a set amount, like it's done, and like, okay, that's what I got.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of working with these folks, is that they're always trying to get you more funding. They're looking in all different areas, turning over rocks to see who they can go to in order to get you some business credit.
Oh, awesome. Cool. So I'm happy for you. It's 53. And that's just his first round, next round is really exciting.
Right. And what's actually interesting is now that I'm actually done with the first round of funding, they explained that, they are going to be doing some inquiries into your credit because they're trying to get you credit. And then they sent me this email with some steps to take in order to help boost my credit even more. So when the next round of funding comes, they can get me hopefully twice as much funding or something close to it. And they also had some really good tips in there for not only increasing your credit score, but also how do you use that credit in a way where when they look at your credit for the next round, it looks even better. So they give you some strategies there. So it's a very easy to follow process. They walk you right through it.
That's cool. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited for like the next run and the next one because it just really opens you up to be able to put that into a deal, which kind of segues nicely because we just closed on a deal last week. So full disclosure, so David and I are working on this one together. I found the deal, and then again, since David had funding, I was like, yeah, let's partner on this deal together. It was your first one, still is your first one, so we can, I can just teach you and guide you along, the entire process. So, so can you talk me through like what you learned so far on this deal, and then we'll talk about like numbers and all that stuff. So, what were some of the insights like so far working on the deal?
So it was interesting to be able to see how the negotiation process worked. You had the deal signed and ready to go, but then there's a tenant in there right now to going to, all right, well, what do we do once we close? But the overall process was very easy and straightforward as far as from the time you approached me with the deal to this is how much we need. Luckily, I had enough funding so that I was able to help on that end. And then with the closing, that's where we had my first challenge was really, okay, how do I take this funding that I just acquired and be able to use that for a deal? We use a company that can use that funding there and actually wire funds for the closing. And I had never done it before. And you go on the website, they say you have to do X, Y, and Z, but there's a couple of extra steps that maybe wasn't so clear. So, the next time that I do it will be a little bit different. I'll use like a business checking account where I'll put the money in there first so it's ready to go. And I found that it's a lot easier to move it out of a bank account rather than taking it right out of the credit cards or the credit lines, for lack of a better word, that they give you. There's a little bit more hoops to jump through when you do that. So that might be something we'll do differently when it comes to funding.
Yeah, so it's like a really good learning lesson for the next time. Because you, just like we were talking about, like you're going to use the funding again, you have additional funding left over. We'll talk about that. But especially when when it comes to this sort of stuff, like we sent the wires or we sent the funds the same day, and typically that's fine. But they had some like internal processing issues, let's call it that. So money didn't hit till like the next day. And luckily the seller was fine with it, and like we worked through it, and eventually closed. But it's just like a good thing. Like if we got it in a day earlier, like no problem. But we're kind of scrambling to to get it done.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a learning experience, right?
Yes.
It's something that I've never done before, and it's now that I know it, and I guess that could be said about just about everything with real estate investing, right? Sometimes you feel like you go into it thinking you know what's going to happen, and then you get a curveball. You just need to know how to react, and you learn from it.
No, spot on. And I'm glad you went through that, just because like when you see like bigger pockets interviews or YouTube videos, like people are talking about, oh, I made, $30K on this deal or $20K on this deal. Like you always expect like it's very smooth sailing, like, oh, there's no hiccups, there are no bumps in the road. But then you get into it, and like the more you learn, the more experience you get, like there's less bumps in the road for sure. But like there still are bumps in the road, and then it's like, okay, I gotta be creative to solve this problem, and I gotta like work hard and make some phone calls, or shoot some emails, or just figure it out. So those bumps in the roads are good, for sure, because it's a good learning experience, because that's how it really is out there.
Yeah, absolutely. They say you learn best from your failures, and I wouldn't call what we had was a failure, but it was just like you said, it was a speed bump, and you get over it.
Oh, awesome. I like that perspective. Okay. So if you're comfortable sharing, like what are the rough numbers on this deal here?
Yeah. So I think originally we agreed with the seller of about 20,000. We were able to get them down to about 18.
Right.
And, for a couple of different reasons, but, we were able to close for 18. We'll put roughly about 5,000 into it. And then hopefully sell it on the market for 49.50 maybe. So it's and with minimal effort too. So it's not like it's going to be a huge renovation. We're not tearing down walls and putting in new kitchen cabinets. It's really just going to be make sure it looks nice, new paint. Like I said, it's maybe $5,000 worth of money to put into it. But overall, I think it's easier and quicker to do it that way.
No, it's a great deal. And that's fantastic. I like it too. And there's a lot of potential. We have to get the tenant out, which is part of the reason we got a price reduction. So we got to get the tenant out. We're working with them there. That's no problem. And then we'll renovate it, list it. So we're,
And with this tenant that we're trying to get out, we could have gone the route of just evicting them, but I mean, you got a great idea, but what we're going to do is end up doing the cash for keys, where you give them some incentive to get out. So, hey, we could foreclose on you or we could evict you, excuse me, but nobody really wants to do that. So it's really giving them, hey, we'll give you $1,500 if you can be out by this day. That should help you as far as getting into a new place or a new apartment. And, the tenants seem to really like that option better than eviction, which, makes me feel better too. So hopefully we can still move forward with that, and they're out by, I think, July 21st or something like that. So
that's it. Yeah, that or before. We were already going back and forth where like maybe they'll get out sooner. We're trying to figure out what that looks like, but no, it's progress. But like they're making moves to move, right? So it's not like I've never heard from, or we've never heard from them. It's like they're keeping in contact. So it's they're moving in the right direction. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. And I feel good about the way we're going about it too. So
awesome. Okay. One thing, I did want to ask you another question. Like, has this kind of like demystified the process? Like, well, in your head or listening to podcasts, like it's this huge thing to get a deal, to get it closed, do a flip. But in reality, it's like it's just more attainable, maybe is the right word. Like, what are your thoughts on that? I'm just trying to see if that's been the case.
It's almost like if you've ever gone up to a pool and the water's cold. It's like, do you just jump in or do you get in slowly? And I feel like if up until this particular point, it was always, I got to know more about it. I don't feel comfortable. There's so many unknowns. I want to dip my toe in, but with someone like yourself helping me through it, it's almost like just do it. And now that we've done it, it's like it's not that bad. You know, it's like the water's not as cold as you thought. And it just makes me feel like, oh, well, if it's like this, then I'm ready to do more. This is great. Let's move on to the next one.
I like it. I know I like it. I like the momentum. Like, hey, we'll do this one, then the next one, the next one, and
Yeah.
before
It feels easier than I thought it was going to be.
there we go. Good. No, I'm glad to hear that. With that in mind, like, would you recommend others work with me as well?
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. So I think I mentioned before, like, you know, I've used some of those fancy, expensive real estate investing courses that you can take where, you know, they promise that it's going to be a smooth road and, you know, pay us a lot of money. We're going to show you how to do it, but you don't actually have someone that you can talk to. They recommend, you know, meeting up with your local real estate investor associations and talk to other investors. But, you know, having you, just being able, someone like right now, just talk face to face, walk you through it. Any kind of questions I have, I know I can pick up the phone and call you or email you. It's been a tremendous help. It's like having, you know, a coach with you that you can go to whenever you have a question.
No, I like it. I like to set it up the program that way because that's how I learned. Like that's how I personally learned, and I know students get better success. Like yourself, like we've seen the change. Like you've been with me maybe like 5 months. Like we got
Yeah.
you funding, we got you, you know, we got you a deal, and on top of that, I think you had some life changes. So it's not like you were full speed real estate the
Yeah.
entire time. So I think you took a couple months off, which is, you know, totally fine. Life happens, but you're
Mhm.
still like making great progress, and it's been like, yeah, like 5 months barely. You know.
Yeah. And it's even that much more of a motivator now. I feel so empowered to be able to do it that, you know, it makes it not as scary.
Yeah, no, for sure. Awesome. So, and then why should someone listening take action now?
Well, it really depends on what your goals are. If there's something that you really want in life, like what's your why? And, you know, my why is that, you know, I've got 3 young kids and I don't want to work, you know, 9 to 5 until they're out in college and I'm old. You know, I want to be able to spend time with them. So real estate's given me at least that focus to get that financial freedom that I'm looking for. And I feel like the longer that you wait, it's like kicking the can down the road. If you don't take any steps now, it's always been that, well, one day I'll do this or one day I'll do this. And then you'll wake up 5 years later and you haven't even started.
Mm-hmm. No, I like it. Well, again, David, I really appreciate you doing this and hopping on here. It's really cool to like catch this next leg of your journey and like kind of record it and see, you know, see where you're at. We did the
Yeah.
first one where you're like getting funding. Now we, you know, have a deal. We can do the next one. If you're open to it, we'll figure out what the next one is. Maybe you got your second deal. You know, we'll figure all that stuff out. But
Yeah, definitely. Or we could even do an update on where we're at with this one. You know,
yeah.
this flip that we're doing isn't going to be very long. It should be a quick one since we're not putting much work into it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we can certainly go over the end result because it, you know, it shouldn't be more than what, maybe early August we're planning on being done with it. So right now it's what, late June, early July. So yeah, should be quick.
Well, yeah, we're getting there. Yeah, we can definitely do that as well. Like update, like, okay, what'd you learn? All that stuff. But okay,
Definitely.
cool. Well, again, appreciate it. And yeah, no, I appreciate you doing this. And this is super helpful. Did I already ask you, like, if you have any final insights? I don't know if I asked you that yet. Did I? Like, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
I'm not sure. Not really. Just, you know, again, if this is something that you want to do and you want to have someone help coach you along the way and you don't want to feel like you're on an island by yourself, you know, I would certainly suggest doing something with you or, you know, looking into your program because it'll certainly be helpful.
Okay, awesome. No, and I appreciate it. I totally forgot if I asked you that question. We do these like this is like live, and a lot of these questions I'm asking David are just off the cuff. Like I just think of it and like ask it. So I totally forgot if I asked you that. But no, I appreciate you hopping on here. Just really good stuff, and it's just really cool to see your journey, like step by step, and the progress you've made. Not just like, oh, I've got a deal, I've got funding, like the tangible, but also like the mental. Like at first, it's like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. Then it's like, okay, let's do this. Okay, I can do this. And it's like, okay, let's do more of this. So it's really cool to see that like mental progression too.
Yep. It's that building confidence in yourself to be able to do it. And I think that's what a lot of new investors struggle with is there's so many unknowns and there's lots of risks. And so when there's a lot of risk and unknowns, people don't really take action. But, you know, having somebody like yourself is really going to help break that barrier, if you will, and help you jump in.
Awesome. Right, well, I'll let you run here, David, but appreciate it. Thank you so much. And yeah, until next time.
All right. See ya.